It was on the gift of singleness. And so we talked about singleness, and then we got Dylan and Connor. They talked about standards. That's going to be on there too. So make sure you go and check it out, because it's a lot of good gems in there. Like I learned some stuff. Like I'm listening to Connor and Dylan talk. I was like, man, that's really good. Even Presley and Kinley, I was listening to stuff. It was good. It was just a lot of stuff. And we couldn't even put everything in there because it was a lot of just good stuff. So make sure you go and check that out on our YouTube channel. So let's recap last week, because Pastor Jess covered a lot of stuff, and I just want to kind of get you up to speed. Maybe you weren't here. Let's recap some things. Number one of the things I learned, this is really what I learned. The word dating is not in the Bible. We learned the word dating is not in the Bible. You won't find it in any of the 66 books of the Bible. Not Matthew, not James, not Revelations, not Genesis, not even Proverbs. You won't find it in any of the translations, not the ESV, not the NIV, not the NLT, not the New King James Version, not even the Passion Translation. You would think maybe the Passion Translation, but it ain't in there either. The word dating is nowhere found in the Bible. And we had a chart. Paige, can you put that up? The word dating wasn't in the Bible because dating didn't exist. So let's look at early history. There wasn't dating. It was arranged marriage. Your parents basically like, hey, in 20 years, you're going to marry Jimmy. And you ain't had nothing to say. You ain't had nothing to do. You was just marrying Jimmy. There wasn't nothing you could do. So then, 19th century, we had calling. And then early 20th century is where we had dating/courting. And currently, we in the talking phase, which to me is still, I get confused about it, because like, hey, are you dating Bobby? And you're like, no, we just talking. Like, that don't make sense. Are y'all dating or y'all not? No, we talking. I don't understand that. So right now, we are in the talking phase. So that's the first thing we learned, was that dating did not exist in the Bible. The second thing, we talked about some reasons we date and how we try to accomplish things through dating. Really, we try to accomplish the wrong things. And so they're going to put it on the screen. The first thing is we date to be accepted or we feel pressured to. Like, for real, just be honest. Like, how many of y'all feel pressure to date because everybody else dating? Y'all lying, because only 3 of y'all raise your hand. Y'all, okay, I see what we doing. Okay, here, I'll be nice. Everybody close your eyes. Raise your hand if you feel pressured to date because everybody else is dating. Couple more people. Okay. So we learn about that, or we date to fill a void. We do it for attention. We got to have the attention. We do it because we're lonely, or we do it for leisure fun. Those are the wrong reasons to date. You shouldn't be dating for those reasons. Third thing, one of my favorite things, singleness is okay. Sometimes people look at singleness like it's a disease. It ain't. It's okay to be single. And I'm going to be honest, like, enjoy your singleness. Like, enjoy it. To me, singleness is probably like one of the most important seasons of your life, because it's a foundational part of your life where you can build some stuff. You can get the firm foundation in God. You can work on some things. You can do the things that you need to do that kind of get pushed off once you get in a relationship. It's things that you should already have done before you get in a relationship. So singleness is a good thing. And so we talked about 3 things we need to do in our singleness. 1, we need to check our preparation. Do we have a firm foundation in the Lord? Number 2, check our patterns. Do we have some toxic traits in us? Are there things that if people knew about us, like, they kind of would look at us a little differently? Are there some generational curses that need to be broken in our lives? Things that we see our parents done. We've seen things that we saw our grandparents do, and you have the opportunity to break them. Are there some things that are toxic in your life? And the third thing we talked about was check our people. And so do I have the right people around me? Now, here goes the fun part. The stuff that it kind of got a little controversial, and I was proud of Jess. Like, I was like, I can't believe she said that, but she said it. So we talked about, we answered the question that everybody really came for is, am I dateable? So raise your hand. How many of y'all feel like y'all are dateable? I feel like you did your job, Jess. I feel like some people, I ain't going to say who, just raise their hand. I know they ain't dateable. There ain't no way they dateable. I ain't going to say who. I ain't going to say Porter Doyle. Now it's Porter. Not just playing Porter, just playing. So we answered the question, are we dateable? And I'm about to point out 3 things we talked about that if you can say yes to any of these things, you probably don't need to be dating. You probably don't. Number 1, you don't need to be dating. It's not time for you to date. Is if your motivation needs to be purified. If you're dating for the wrong reason, if you got some immorality in your life, you probably don't need to be dating. Number 2, you have not met anyone you can see a future with. Now, I'll be honest with y'all. If you're in 6th grade, you probably can't find, you haven't seen anybody with a future. Because you're probably not going to get married for another 10 years. So, like, if you can see 10 years into the future, that's impressive. But I ain't going to say I guarantee, because I don't want to speak in absolutes, but I guarantee you ain't found nobody you know you're going to marry. I guarantee you. If you in 6th grade, really if you're in middle school, really if you, I ain't going to give an age. I ain't going to put an age to it. Number 3, you're nowhere ready to get married. You probably don't need to be dating. I ain't going to say you don't need to date, but you probably don't. If you know where, what's the point? Like, what we doing? Some of y'all can't even drive, and y'all trying to date. What y'all going to do? Like, I just don't understand. So then she said something that a lot of y'all was about to stone her. I was like, oh, Lord, they're about to throw stones at Jess. If you could say yes to any of the 3 reasons and you are in a relationship, she said the statement, and I quote, y'all probably need to break up with them. That's a direct quote from Jess. She said, if you're in a relationship, and let me just, I'm going to simplify it for you. If you're in a relationship and you doing things that you don't need to be doing in a relationship, that's the first thing. Number 2, you young and you really ain't nowhere close to getting married. Or number 3, you don't see nobody like that you would have a future with, and you just dating just to date. If you dating just to date, you probably need to break up with that person. Now, I could not believe she said such a thing. I was like, bro, she said that. And if you go look on the YouTube channel around like the 6-minute and 27-second time mark, you'll hear me in the back laughing. Because I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And the reason I think it's funny, because I agree with it. If you're in a relationship, you're crossing boundaries, you're doing things that you don't need to be doing, you ain't ready. You're not ready to date. Because it's obvious you're not ready. Number 2, if you don't see anybody you can have a future with, don't be just dating just to date. What's the point? Like, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about it in a second. And number 3, if you don't see a future, like, why? So I agree with her. You probably don't need to be dating. But tonight, I'm going to help everybody in here. I'm going to help everybody. There's 2 groups of people I want to help tonight. Number 1 is I want to help the single people. I'm going to help y'all tonight, okay? I got y'all. Girl, I got you. Now, the second group of people I want to help are the ones that are in relationships. I want to help y'all, okay? I'm going to give y'all some important information. So we got 2 groups of people that I want to help. The ones that's single, the ones that's in relationship. Now, before we continue, this is what I need y'all to do. If you are in a relationship, if you're in a relationship, for the next 20 minutes, what I need you to do, don't tell them, but I need y'all to break up. For the next 20 minutes. That's what I need you to do. Just temporary. Break up. Now, there's a good, y'all, hopefully, maybe, probably not, I don't know. Y'all might get back together. Who knows? I don't know. I got faith in Lindsay and Jackson. I got faith in y'all. It's going to work out. Don't worry. No, I ain't about to point them out. No. There ain't none of them dating nobody. What you talking about? They ain't in no relationships. So I want y'all to temporarily break up for 20 minutes, okay? Just 20 minutes, really 18 minutes and 50 seconds. That's what I need y'all to do. Break up, okay? So now we all in the same boat. We all single, except for me. I'm married. All right. Forget y'all. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Hold on. So we all single. Now, the reason I did that, because, like I said before, there's no such thing in the Bible, there's no dating. They only talk about 2 things. They talk about singleness, and they talk about marriage. So nowhere in the Bible will you find the word girlfriend or will you find the word boyfriend. That's something we made up. So really, it's either you're single or you're married. Like, this is about to sound real crazy. Kevin and Maddie, they engaged, but until they get married, till they sign their names on that marriage certificate, they're single. Now, some of us, I know. Now, some of us are, he ain't, no, boy, y'all better chill out. Aunt Maddie too, y'all better chill out. All right, sorry, hold on. I gotta make sure, my bad, Kev, I got you. All right. Now, we talked about like being single, so we all can agree everybody in here is single. Now, let's go back, except for me and Jess. Let's go back like 5 minutes ago before I told you to break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. There's some of us in here who technically, because we're not married, we single, we've been doing some married stuff. And I'm just going to leave it right there. Now, I love how if you're not single, and I'm just going to, this is just Ren. Like, this is the stuff I've been taught. This is how I view it, and it helps me. If you're not married, I want you to view them as your brother and as your sister. Oh, no. What, I don't understand. What's the big deal? What? I don't understand. Until you married, that's your brother or sister. Now, we got 16 minutes of them being your brother or sister. Hold on. Just stay with me. Stay with me. All right. So tonight, like I said, I want to help y'all. I'm going to give you the number one tip on how to get married. Like this, man, I stand by this, okay? The number one tip. It might not be number one to y'all, but I think it's number one. I ain't got a lot of points today. Here we go. The number one tip before you get married. Dang, I ain't never seen him take notes like this. The number one tip to get married is set your standards before you get in a relationship. Set your standards before you get in a relationship. Now, the time to set standards isn't once you get in the relationship. It's not after you ask her out on the first date. It's not after the 8th date. It's not when she says yes to you. The time to set standards is while you're single and while there's nobody around. Because the problem is a lot of us get in dating relationships and we don't have standards set in our own personal life. And what happens is we bring those issues and we bring those problems into relationships. And what happens is it leaves everyone hurt. Like that's exactly what's going to happen. Like it's when you have your personal standards, your relationship, your dating standards basically branch off of that. It's all going to kind of look the same. Standards are so important because they protect you. Not having standards is like getting in a car, no seatbelt, you driving 110 miles an hour on a Louisiana road, and it just got done snowing. And y'all know Louisiana roads ain't the best, and you know we don't know how to drive once it get below 32. There's a good chance it might not end well. That's what it's like when you don't have standards. You're basically just kind of just setting yourself up to fail. And I don't want you to do that. When you don't have standards, you don't have boundaries, and you're just kind of just out there just living life, just reckless, just doing whatever. And what happens is you get hurt, the other person gets hurt. And tonight, I want to save you from some unnecessary pain that you don't have to go through. You really don't. So standards are so important because it basically sets the pace of your life. Everything that you do should line up with your standards. If I were to ask y'all tonight, what are your standards? Could y'all tell me? Okay. So, all right, Melanie, what's one of your standards? Oh, I just said if I were to ask y'all what's one, go ahead. Okay. That's cute. That's cool. I'm not talking about, I don't want to know about your dating standards, Melanie. I want to know your own personal life. Personal. So I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes, okay? Okay, give me a personal standard. I'll put you on the spot. So you want a personal standard is you spending time with the Lord, okay? Give me somebody else. Give me a personal standard. Give me some guys. I'm gonna start calling guys. All right, here we go. Brady, give me a standard. No drinking. I'm okay with that. Jake, give me a standard. You better not be drinking, Brady. I know your daddy. Like, I know your daddy. Like I'll call him right now if I find out you drinking. Jake? Oh, you want to walk your life with God? I was like, what you saying, Jake? All right. Nick? No vaping. Can I tell y'all something that might surprise y'all? Like, never in my life have I ever drank or have I ever smoked. Can I tell y'all? And I'm not telling y'all that to like, oh, make you feel bad. I'm telling you it's a standard that you can have and it's possible. I'm going to say it for later. All right. Jackson, give me a standard. Oh, he going back to relationship. Okay. Quit that. Jackson talking about some Lindsay's blonde hair, blue eyes. I ain't got time for that. I guess. Okay, so those are some standards. Okay, so hold on. We're not getting on the dating standards yet. See, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I think a lot of times we worry more about our checklist of what she or he has to look like versus our own personal life. And what happens is we worry so. I'm not you, Jackson. I'm not getting on you. I'm just. You help me get. You good. You help me get to this point. I'm skipping like the page 4, but that's okay. But we worry more about our checklist. He got to be this tall. He got to be strong. He got to be athletic. He got to be this. But none of that matters. If I love what Dylan said, he was holding people to standards that he wasn't even holding himself to. Like, let's start with the standard before we get to the checklist. The checklist doesn't matter if you don't have standards. Because if you don't have standards, you're just setting yourself up to fail. You are. And I'm speaking from experience because I've been in relationships where I didn't have my own personal standards and nothing good came out of it. I've been in 4 relationships before. 4 relationships. Just number 4. The only good things that came out of those 3 relationships was we broke up and I got to meet Jess. That was the only good thing. In every single one of my relationships before that, both of us left hurt and broken because I didn't have any standards in my life. Guys, here goes here's where you step in. I'm skipping ahead. Let's just go ahead and start talking about relationships. You set the standards. Set the standards. And uphold the standards. The cool part is men, like, God called us to lead. He called us to be the head of a marriage. How can you be a head of a marriage if you're not willing to be the head of a dating relationship, which dating really don't exist, but that's okay. But like, how can you do that if you're not willing to uphold the standards? And then how can you uphold standards of a dating relationship when you don't have standards in your own personal life? I don't know if it sounds. I don't know if I'm being. Am I being? Is this too much? Am I being mean? Stop me if I'm being mean. I'm sorry. All right. So if you don't set your own personal standards, the world will set your standards. The world's gonna set it. Like, think about it. And I kind of feel bad. Like, I feel like y'all got it rough. Like, I think about just the things that y'all see at school. Like, some of the people that you see, some of the things that people are doing. You're seeing people vape. You're seeing people drink. And then you just talk about relationships. You're seeing people do things in relationships that they shouldn't be doing. And that is the standard that's presented to y'all. But that's not the right standard. Then I think about social media. Social media presents a standard like, hey, you should live your life like this. You should do this. Guys, you should do this. Girls, you should do this. Or if you're in a relationship, this is relationship goals. And that's not a standard. That's just something that the world made up. Can I tell you that you don't have to live to the standards that the world gives you? Like, let me show you. Porter, come here for a second. Like, that's a good choice. Your leg hurt. What? Let me see. How many feet is this? That's, all right. Oh, you're going to be on this side. Be on this side of the table. Okay. All right. Just be on this side of the table. All right. So what I got is a ping pong ball. I'm just going to give you one. All I need you to do is make the ping pong ball. You get one throw in this cup. Wherever you want to be. Where you want to be at. I got the line over there. All right, here we go. All right. All right, real quick. How many of y'all think Porter going to make it? No. Dang. Hey, your boys bet they got you. Let's go, Porter. What you got? Dang. Okay. That was, you only get one try. That was it. I'm so sorry. Hey, where's Jordan? Come here. Let's go, Jordan. Porter, go sit down. Here you go. All right, Jordan. How many of y'all think Jordan is going to make it in here? What you got, Jordan? Ooh. Dang. Okay, let me stop for a second. Jordan, I got a question for you. Why did you shoot it from over there? What? Because you shoot it there because Porter shot it there? Did you have to shoot it there? Did you ask? You just kind of shot it where you saw somebody else shoot it, right? But can I tell you what would have been easier? If you would have just did that, right? But, I'm sorry, sit there for a second. So I think that's what a lot of us do. We see this line. I never told them you have to, did I ever say stand behind this line? The line's just here. I just said there's a line there. I ain't telling what you have to do with it. It's a line here. And so basically what Porter did, Porter made this the standard for his life. And he didn't make it. So what Jordan did was Jordan saw Porter shoot it from here. And she just assumed this was the standard. I'm going to shoot it from here. And what smart old Ren, what he did, I came and I dunked it, just like that, windmilled it. Because I set the standard in my own life. I didn't let Porter, if I wanted to, I could make it, Porter. Porter, I could make this from right here. Here you go. Nah, I ain't gonna do it. I won. Y'all got the bad standards. All right, so I made the new standard for my life. The standard was I'm not gonna shoot it back there. I'm gonna shoot it right here. And that's what each and every one of you have the opportunity to do. You have the opportunity to make the standards for your life. You don't have to allow your friends to make the standards. You don't have to allow social media to make the standards. You make the standards. And let me show you how. I'm going to teach you how to make the standard. If you want to make the standards in your life, there's a couple things you need to do. One, you need to spend time with God. Spend time with God. A lot of us don't know what God wants in our life because we don't spend time with him. Or the only time we spend God with him is for 25 minutes during worship at J17. Let's be real. And we get home, and we don't know what to do. We don't know what God wants for our life. We just kind of live in life. But if you would just take the time and be still, I love what Jess talked about last week, and just be still and just sit in his presence. Can I tell you, he'll tell you what standards that he has for you? He'll tell you. See, a lot of us, we get in relationships without standards, and we leave hurt because we don't know our standards. We haven't even went to God about this boy or girl. We just dating, and we kind of trying to bring God into the mix of it, but we end up leaving hurt. Real quick, everybody close your eyes. Close your hands. Raise your hand if you've been in a relationship and you've been hurt because you didn't have any standards. All right, put your hands down. All right, everybody look at me. I'm going to tell you something that's about to sound really mean. It's your fault you got hurt. I'm just going to be real with you. It ain't their fault. It ain't nobody else's fault. It's your fault. Can I tell you why? Because you ain't have no standards. If you want to save yourself from some pain, have some standards. A lot of times we don't have standards. We don't set standards in our life because we don't know the value of our lives. Because if you knew something was so valuable, you would do every single thing that you could do to protect it. If I had this egg, pretend like this is an egg, it would be dumb for me to just drop it. It's going to crack. Now, let's say I wanted to drop it. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 3,000 feet of bubble wrap. I'm going to do everything I can to protect this egg when I drop it. Because there's a chance it might drop. There's a chance you might break up with somebody. There's a chance something might go wrong. But if you're protected and if you have your standards, it's going to save you a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. And the thing about standards, setting them isn't just for you, it's for that other person. Because I care about me, but also I know by me setting my standards, it's going to protect them too. Because I'm not going to do something that's going to hurt them, it's going to jeopardize them. And then like 5 relationships down the road, they're still dealing with the pain and the hurt that I caused them. That's one reason I set standards. So when you're setting your standards, I want to challenge you. We talked about going to God and allowing the Holy Spirit to tell you what your standards are. Also, when he gives you the standard, don't question it. Because this is what's going to happen. Like, I'm going to tell you some standards that I had in my life just growing up, just simple stuff. Like, I don't cuss. The last time I cussed was my sophomore year of high school. I'm 30 years old. I was 16. So it's been 14 years since I cussed. I made that a standard in my life. Like, that's just something I decided. For 7 years, I decided I wasn't going to drink sodas. I just decided. I was like, I ain't going to drink sodas. I went 7 years. While me and Jess dated, I didn't drink soda. I didn't drink a soda until we were married, like, 2.5 years. We went to New York. I was like, oh, we in New York. I'm going to drink a soda. That sounds like, oh, a soda. Like, I'm sorry. I'm talking like it. It did taste weird, Nick. It did. But I just made those standards in my life. And I'm not telling you, don't make my standards your standards. This is just what God gave me. So those are some simple personal standards. Like, but then when it went to dating, I told y'all I really didn't have any standards. And I was just doing things I should have been doing. I was crossing boundaries. I was doing things that I know wasn't right. And it's because I didn't have any standards. So relationship 1, fail. Relationship 2, fail. Relationship 3, fail. Then I meet Jess. Really, before I meet Jess, I had a moment with God, and I was like, I don't want to do this wrong anymore. I was like, the next person I date, I want to marry. So I had to make some standards. And I kind of went to the extreme. When you're making your standards, I want to challenge you, lean to the side of extreme. If you have a choice between A and B, if B is a little bit more extreme, go with it. Because what happens is we pick like kind of the easy one, and as humans, we say we can handle it. I can handle a little physical touch. It ain't gonna go nowhere. I can kiss him. It ain't no big deal. I trust myself. I'm gonna stop right there. All right. So for me, my big thing was physical touch. I struggled with that. So I went to the extreme, and I said I want to limit physical touch as much as I can. I'm gonna tell y'all something crazy. I didn't hug Jess until 6 months we were dating. At church, and it was a side hug. That's how extreme I went. Only because Miss Becky at Life United, she said, turn around and hug your neighbor. We looked at each other like, I was like, oh, God, I got to hug her. You might say, like, Ren, that is the dumbest thing ever. But I valued her so much, and I knew I wanted to marry her. I was willing to do whatever it took to not cross any boundaries, to not do anything that was gonna stop my standards. I just wanted to be sure. We 4 years in, y'all. Like, I did what I had to do. But I think some of y'all take y'all standards too easy. And y'all like, I guess I'm going to do this. I guess I'm going to do that. I guess I'm going to read my Bible for 5 minutes. And it's just stuff that sounds good, or stuff you heard people say, or it's stuff that it just looks cool, but God didn't tell you that. What is God telling you? Like, if you're in a relationship, what is God telling you about the relationship? Are you even seeking God about the relationship? And I'll be honest, I know some of y'all ain't. I know y'all not. Because if you are seeking God about a relationship, you wouldn't be doing some of the things that you're doing. Like, it's obvious. Like it is. So I'm kind of jumping around, but if you have the standards set in your personal life, you're going to have the standards in your dating life, and then you're going to get married. We should, possibly. I don't know. I told y'all, number one tip, how to get married. I don't know if y'all can get married, but it worked for me. You got to have some standards.